Tashi everyone, and we continue from yesterday. And then from the text, here it says, I bow my head to Pema Nyingje Wangbo Wajidara, who holds the garland of wish-fulfilling jewels. So here, since Pema Nyingje Wangbo, who is the main teacher of Jamgon, so he is making praise to his main root guru. And then in our tradition, so we pay the most respect to our root guru, and sometimes because of our faith and devotion, we respectfully call our root guru as Wajidara or Dorjicham. And most of the texts, when you read about Buddhism, especially Vajrayana Buddhism, if it is a Kagyu text, normally you will see that the root guru is being called as Wajidara or Dorjicham, who is in essence of the Buddha himself. And then for some students, it might think that when we are calling our root guru or our lama as Vajradhara, then it might seem like little fake, because when we talk about Vajradhara, when we talk about the Buddha himself, we perceive them as someone very perfect. From their body, from their speech, from their mind, everything is very perfect. They look almost very radiant when we make a statue of them or when we have a thangka of them. But then when we are referring our Lama as a Vajradhara, sometimes it feels a little inappropriate, or sometimes it feels like maybe we are lying to ourselves. But we have to know that when we are talking here, we are talking about the mind usually. So when we are talking about our root guru, we believe that he or she is enlightened being. And when someone is enlightened, then there are not any difference between them and the Buddha himself. Most of the students, they think that maybe since we are Buddhist, the Buddha is the most important as a person, or maybe as he is a Buddha. But then we believe that even Buddha, we only know about Buddha because we have been taught by our teachers. If there were no any teachers, then we will have no idea about what or who a Buddha is. We will have no idea about what Buddhism is. So that is why in our tradition, we consider our main teacher as the most important. So even when we make a praise, so first we make praise to our teacher. Like when we do prostration, we say Namo Guruya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya. Guruya means like our teacher. Sometimes we might think that maybe our guru is not perfect. Because, for example, like most of us, we follow Gyaltsen Thrangu, and I think most of us met him when he was quite old, and obviously his eyesight was not the perfect. His hearing was also not perfect. So sometimes we might feel or we might think that, oh, his body is not perfect, so maybe he's not a Buddha. But actually it is not like that. When we are talking about Buddha, we are mostly talking about the mind, which has to be perfect. The mind has to be the perfect. And the body and speech is not that important. And then maybe even some of us think that maybe our root guru is not a Buddha, maybe he's not realized, but still, even though he or she is not realized, but still, they were the most important to us. It doesn't make much difference because they were the most important person to us, who was able to guide us, who was able to show us the path, the way of the Buddhism and everything. And for example, it is like just our, maybe like mother. So maybe our mother is not as beautiful as her mother. Maybe our mother is not as beautiful, not only beautiful, or maybe not as rich as her mother. Maybe our mother may be not as educated as her mother, but still for us, our mother is the most important person for most of us, because she took care of us when we were born, and after we were born, she handled us when we were a child, taught us everything. And in general, most of the Buddhist teachings, we always talk about mother, because in general, for most people, mother is the most important person. So that is why we say mother is very important. And she may not be as educated or maybe as beautiful, as wisdom as her mother, or maybe their mother, grandmother or grandmother, like that. But for us, our mother is the most important, because she took care of us. And just like that, our guru, maybe even though he might not be as realized as his teacher or maybe as Buddha, but still for us, he is the most important person. And if he had not shown us the path, not shown us the way, then we will have no idea about Buddhism. So that is why we say our root guru is the Vajradhara himself. And some of us really believe that he is the Vajradhara. And some of us, because some of our other Dharma brother and sisters call him as Vajradhara, then because of what the other Dharma brother and sister are saying, we just blindly follow and say that he is a Vajradhara. And then the more we believe or the more we trust that our root guru is the Buddha or the Vajradhara, then it's easier for us when we are practicing. Because when he says something to us, it's very easy for us to follow. But when we don't have a lot of trust and faith that our teacher is the Buddha himself, then sometimes whenever he instructs us or guides us in our teaching, then sometimes we have doubt. We will be like, oh, whether I should follow his instructions or not, whether I should do what he said or not. And then it creates more doubts in your practice. And then when you have doubt in your practice, then most of the time the practice doesn't go very well. But when you have full trust in your teacher, and then when you follow his advice, then it's very easy for us to see some progress in our practice. But then before deciding on our teacher, it is very important to first check, examine how our teacher is. And when we have decided upon our main teacher or our root guru, and then it is most advisable to follow the instructions. In some text, like especially the new English books, sometimes we see that Tibetan Buddhism is called Lamaism. So this is the main reason sometimes people call Lamaism, because we believe that our Lama is the most important, and after that comes Buddha. And then these days Lama term is becoming very normal. People think that when you call someone a Lama, especially like high Tulkus, high Rinpoches, when you call someone a Lama, it seems like people are derogating the term Lama. They want to be called as maybe Rinpoche or Tulku or maybe Vajradhara or some many different terms. But actually when we say Lama, that is the most highly respected term according to the scriptures. Because when we say Lama, then that is the main definition of the teacher. And when you read the books, you will see a lot of description about Lama. You will not be able to see like, oh, what a Tulku is, what a Rinpoche is, and all these new terms that people use, His Holiness, His Eminence, whatever. Lama is supposedly the main and the most important title that is according to the Vajrayana Buddhist practice. Like even when you do Guru Yoga practice, you will say Lama Rinpoche la Sowatep. You don't say, oh, Tugu, or you don't say His Holiness, you don't say anything at all. You just say Lama Rinpoche la Sowatep. When you recite calling Lama from afar, right in the beginning, there is Lama Keno. And we are supposedly actually should be referring our teachers as Lama, and that is supposedly the most important title that we can refer to someone. And then when we say Lama here, there are like two different letters. There's La and then there's Ma. So La actually means like uncomparable. So whose activities is uncomparable, whose knowledge is uncomparable, whose wisdom is uncomparable. So who is the most, almost like the perfect teacher. And then the second letter is Ma, and Ma means mother. And mother who has like, when we talk about in general terms, when we give an example of compassion, we normally talk about mothers, because when mother they give birth, they have so much compassion, loving kindness to their baby. And even when the babies, before they are born, when they are in the womb, she takes care of the womb, of the baby in the womb for a very long time, like almost for 9 months. And then after being born, the baby doesn't know what to say, how to speak. The mother will always be taking care of the baby during the daytime, nighttime, not sleeping very well, even during the daytime, not going out much, always taking care of the baby and not expecting much in return. So she is only showing love and kindness and compassion to the baby and hoping for the betterment of the baby. And just like that, even our teacher, they will care for us, not expecting anything in return for them, but they want their students to be perfect, students to know more about Buddhism, students to have more compassion, students to have more loving kindness and everything. So that is why when we refer someone to as a Lama, that is very advisable than referring some other titles. And then comes the second paragraph, which is more like the aspiration or motivation. So here we are making the aspiration that please bless me and all sentient beings so that we are able to realize the abiding nature, or we are able to cut off the dualistic perception, because whatever we have problems with us now, it is because of the dualistic perception. When we think about this, that there's always something other. We have me, we have other, we have us, we have other, we have like right, left, good, bad, and all this stuff. And because of this, we create lots of difficulties in our life. So this one is more like the actual practice of Mahamudra, and maybe at the end there will be more description about it. And then after this, each of us has gained a human body and has entered the door of the Dharma, the purpose of which is for minds to go to the Dharma. So like I said yesterday, the main purpose is for us, our mind to go to the Dharma, not the body and the speech. And these days, most of us think that when our body is in the temple, or when our body is somewhere where there are like lots of spiritual activities, we are already doing something spiritually, but actually it is not that. The most important thing is our mind should go to the Dharma. So if our mind is going to the Dharma, then that is the most important. And for that, sometimes when our body is going to the temple or to the Dharma, then sometimes it does help. But just having the body and speech in the Dharma doesn't mean that our mind is also in the Dharma. Sometimes we might not be in the monastery, we might not be in a place where there is lots of Dharma, but even though our mind can be in the Dharma, so that is actually the most important aspect. And then talking about our mind going to the Dharma, there is different ways to describe this. What do you mean by our mind going to the Dharma? So according to the Hinayana terms, it is like when we think about our next life, so whatever we are doing now, if we are hoping that we are practicing for our next life, then that is like the basic motivation to be called as our mind going to the Dharma. Like even if you are practicing, even if you are receiving some teachings, even if you are reciting some mantras, But our purpose is so that in my next life I will be reborn as a better human being. May I be able to practice more in my next life. Then I will be able to gain enlightenment more easily, something like that. Then that is like the basic understanding of the Hinayana Buddhist practice. And then according to Mahayana Buddhist practice, it is like when we are practicing, then we are doing this for other sentient beings, not for myself. Even if I'm reciting, then I'm not reciting so that it is going to help me, but for all the other sentient beings. Even if I'm reciting some prayers, or if I'm going to receive some empowerment, if I'm making some offerings, but I'm not doing this for my own benefit, but for the benefit of all other sentient beings, then that is like the basic requirement of our Mahayana Buddhist practice. And then according to the Vajrayana Buddhist practice, it is like when we see everything as very pure, everything as the Buddha realm, all the sentient beings as the Buddha himself, then that is like the basic requirement as a Vajrayana Buddhist practice. And then for all of you, it might be different motivation when you are practicing. And I cannot say which level you are, but you know your motivation when you are practicing. So whether your mind has entered the Dharma or not, it is up to you how your motivation is. If you are thinking when you are receiving an empowerment or receiving some teachings, or if you are reciting, if you are thinking that, oh, you are doing that for your next life, then you at least have the qualities of the Hinayana Buddhist practice. If you are thinking for the benefit of all the sentient beings, then you can say that you are a Mahayana Buddhist practice. But if you don't have any of this motivation, if you are only doing it for your own benefit, so that maybe you will be able to live a little longer, or maybe your health is going to be better, or maybe you will be able to understand some Dharma, so you will be more renowned, like that, then it means that you have still, your mind has still not entered the Dharma. And then the biggest problem these days is, since we are all practicing from a great master, like maybe His Holiness the Karmapa, His Holiness Siddha Rinpoche, Gyaltsen Rinpoche, or maybe Thrangu Rinpoche, and since they are all Vajrayana Buddhist teachers and we are followers of them, we think that even I am a Vajrayana Buddhist practitioner. But actually it doesn't happen like that. You have to check your motivation, why you are receiving the empowerment, why you are receiving the teachings. It depends not on your teacher, it depends on your motivation. If you have motivation at least for your next life, then even if you are receiving empowerment, like all this Vajrayana empowerment, or maybe the Chagya Chenpo teachings, Dzogpa Chenpo teachings, you are still only a Hinayana Buddhist practitioners. But if you are thinking for all the sentient beings, then you are a Mahayana Buddhist practitioners. It is just like, for example, like I said yesterday, if we are a sprinter or runner, and by accidentally we have entered the Olympics, and we are running 100 meters in maybe like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, but actually we are in the Olympics, but actually we are not yet an Olympic level sprinter. If you are an Olympic level sprinter, maybe you have to complete 100 meters in 11 seconds or maybe 12 seconds. If you need to be the champion, maybe in 10 seconds. But by mistakenly, sometimes many different ways, maybe you are able to enter the Olympics, and you get into Olympics, you run 100 meters in 20 seconds or maybe 25 seconds, and you yourself believe that, oh, I am an Olympic level sprinter or runner. But actually you are not yet a national level runner. But you don't realize that just because you have entered the Olympic, you think that I'm already a very elite sprinter or runner. So just getting into the Olympic doesn't mean that you are elite runner. But when you are able to do that in 11 seconds, 12 seconds, then maybe you can be like an elite runner. So just like that, for most of us, since we receive empowerment, oral transmissions, these Chagya Chenpo teachings, Dzogpa Chenpo teachings, we all think that we are Vajrayana Buddhist practitioners. But when we are receiving all these instructions, if we don't think for the benefit of all sentient beings, or if we are not thinking about the next life, then it means that we are not yet entered the Dharma. So when somebody points it out to you, then sometimes it is little hurtful to you. But when it is all by yourself, you think about yourself, you do the meditation, you think why you are doing that, why you are going to the empowerment, why you are receiving the teaching, then that is not very difficult to see why we are practicing. And then when you realize it yourself, then it helps you more than somebody else pointing out to you. So the teacher and the text doesn't make the practice Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana. It is the motivation that is the most important. So even if you are receiving like the very high empowerment like Kala Chakra, Chakra Samvara, Jina Sakra, like that, but when you are going there, you only think about yourself, then even though the practice is Vajrayana, but it is only becoming a very normal practice because you are only thinking about yourself. So it doesn't even fill the basic requirement of Hinayana. When it doesn't fill the basic requirement of Hinayana, then it is definitely not even Mahayana and Vajrayana practice. But even when you are practicing like the Ngodup practice, but you are doing it for all the sentient beings, then even though we say it is a very Ngodup practice, but still if you are doing it for everyone, then it becomes like a Mahayana Buddhist practice. But if you are doing it for your next life, then it becomes more like a Hinayana practice. But if you are doing it only for yourself for this life, then it means that your practice is not going well. Again, like the example of the sprinter. So even if you are running in a state level competition, if you run like 11, 12 seconds, so even though it is just a state level competition, but still you are an Olympic level sprinter. And just like that, even if you are practicing Ngodup practice, but you have this very pure motivation, then it becomes like the main practice. But even if you go to the Olympic, if you run in 20 seconds, then still it doesn't make you Olympic level. So it just becomes a very normal runner. So just like that, even if you practice all this Mahayana, all this Chakya Chenpo, Dzogpa Chenpo, Kala Chakra, but still it doesn't make you a Vajrayana Buddhist practitioner. In here, like when all of you are attending the Namo Buddha seminar, from outside it looks like everyone is gaining the same merit because you all will be joining the same class, you all will be joining the same meditation session and everything. But it doesn't happen like that. It is the motivation. All of you will have definitely different motivations. Some of you are coming here so that you will be able to learn some more Buddhist philosophy so that it will help you understanding more on Buddhism. Some of you might think that, oh, I'm going to the seminar so that it will help me having a better rebirth in my next life. So if it is happens like that, then that is a little better motivation. And then some of you might think that, oh, I'm joining the Namo Buddha seminar, and by the merit of joining the Namo Buddha seminar, may I be able to help all the sentient beings like that. So depending on the motivation, you will gain merit. And all of you, even though you are spending the same duration of time, but the merit will be very big difference because of the motivation. And then you check your motivation. And if you are only doing it so that you will gain some benefit in this life, then it means that you have not yet entered your mind to the Dharma. It is very important to realize that. And if you are only doing it for this life, then you have to correct your motivation, at least like, oh, for my next life, like that. And if you have the motivation for your next life, then as you practice, then again you will have, as you practice, your motivation will improve, and then gradually maybe for all the benefit of sentient beings. So we have to check our motivation, and we have to gradually improve our motivation. And for that, the most important thing is to have faith in the three jewels. And then from the three jewels, like if we have faith in the Buddha, to the Dharma, and to the Sangha, and from these three to have faith in the Dharma, I think is going to be the best. If we have faith to the Buddha, then still that is very good. But as Buddha has already passed away, it's almost impossible for us to have guidance from him. But like I said, our teacher is the epitome of the Buddha. But still, if our teacher is someone like our Gyaltsen Khenchen Thrangu Rinpoche, then I think it is very easy, because the way he lived his life, I think wasn't any difference from a Buddha. What he taught, he practiced that, he lived his life according to the text. So he was always practicing, he was always reading books, always helping other beings like that. But then these days, we have like lots of teachers. Even me, I'm considered like a teacher, Buddhist teacher now. But when you have so much faith and devotion to a teacher like me, then it is going to be very difficult, because as my character is not in sync with the Dharma, as my behavior is not exactly as sync as taught in the text of how a teacher should be, and not only me, there are lots of other teachers. It's not going to be very good to name other teachers, but you see a lot of teachers these days who are very different from what they teach and how they behave. And if you have like these teachers, then it is going to be very difficult to make you believe that the teacher is correct. But if you have like your most faith and devotion to the Dharma, then whenever you have any problems, whenever you have questions, it is quite easy to remove away your doubt and questions. But when you see like some problems or some behaviors done by your teachers, sometimes you see them, sometimes you hear them, and then it is quite difficult to ignore them and to see the in a perfect way. Even we see our teacher doing something bad, and we always have to lie and say that, oh, it is just a rumor, it is not like that, and that is quite difficult. And obviously all teachers are not going to be perfect, but when you have a teacher like Thrangu Rinpoche, then it is very easy to have full faith, full devotion, and you can follow blindly. It's very easy to follow a teacher like Thrangu Rinpoche. But for other teacher, I think it is going to be very difficult for us to follow blindly. So it is most acceptable to follow the teachings. And then when you have found your teacher and when you follow them, the more, first, before identifying them as your root guru, it is very important to check whether he or she acts or follows what they teach. If they live their life according to the teachings, if they have some understanding of the Buddhism, and if they have like pure motivation to benefit their student, then I think that is still acceptable. If they have more qualities than that, then that is definitely very acceptable for us to have them as our teacher. And for someone like me, when me and the monks and nuns from the monastery, when we had our main teacher as Thrangu Rinpoche, it was very easy for most of us, I think, because we received almost everything from Rinpoche. We received teachings, we received empowerment, we received the vows, we received advice and everything. And most of us believed that Rinpoche was the Vajradhara himself. And it wasn't that difficult for most of us to identify Rinpoche as a Buddha. And even for someone like me, when I was appointed as his successor, I do have like lots of questions, and sometimes I feel like I'm not going to be able to manage or follow in the footsteps of Rinpoche. But because since I have lots of faith and devotion to Rinpoche, and since Rinpoche himself decided that I'm going to be his successor, But even though I don't have trust in myself, but because of the trust that I have in Rinpoche, it was quite easy to accept the position that Rinpoche gave me. And not only me, but most of the senior monks from the monastery and senior students of Rinpoche, they all have lots of faith and devotion to Rinpoche. And of course, I do lack lots of capabilities, but because of the faith and devotion to Rinpoche, we are still going very strong. And I think this is all because of the devotion and trust that we have to our Rinpoche. And then continuing with that, since we have to have like the good motivation, and for that we need to have faith and devotion to the three jewels. For that we need to follow them, and for that to follow them we don't have so much of time, because we all have been born in this universe for at least maybe 20-30 years. The ones who are youngest in here, and some of us are like already 40-50, some of us like 60-70. So we have already spent quite a lot of our time that we already have in this universe. And not only that time, but we also were very fortunate to be born as a precious human birth. And when we are talking about precious human birth, that is the first chapter of the Ngodup practice. And in Ngodup we have the first general Ngodup, and then we have the special Ngodup. So from the first, general Ngodup, the first topic is precious human birth. We call here precious human birth. We don't say just human birth, because having a human birth is maybe not as difficult, because as we say, there are like maybe 7 billion, 8 billion people here in this world. But when we are talking about precious human birth, we are saying someone who has been connected with the Dharma, who has a teacher, who is following the practice of Buddhist Dharma. So someone who has been in connection with the Buddhist Dharma, and that is like a very few or less percentage of the whole population, and those are called as the precious human birth. In the text, why it is very precious? Because we are born into one of the 8 states without freedom. One has this human body endowed with the 8 leisures and 10 opportunities. So the first one is, since we are talking about the 8 states without freedom, so since we are not born in hell beings, they experience the suffering of heat and cold without the slightest respite. When we are talking about the hell beings, so here we have to know that this practice is like the very beginner practice of Buddhism practice. And even from the beginners, this is the first step of the practice. Even from the Ngodup, the precious human birth is the Ngodup of the Ngodup, the first step of the first stage. So, and even here, right in the beginning, here comes that we are like talking about the 8 states with the freedom and hell beings. And what happened is, we have been hearing about hell beings for a very long time. If we have listened to the Dharma, we all think that, oh, we know what a hell being is, like the hot realm, cold realm. It is very like taken lightly by most of us. But then knowing the word and knowing the meaning is very different, because we all know the word, what a hell means. We all, I think, when we go to a temple, we see the mandala or the picture of hell, we think that we know. But if we think properly, like if we have ever thought that, oh, by doing this bad activity, maybe I will be born in the hell realm in my next life. If we think properly, I think most of us have never thought like that, because we don't have faith that a hell really exists. We only keep on reading it all the time when we are reading a book, or there's hell, there's heaven, there's this, there's that. But from deep within, I think most of us still don't believe that a hell exists. We don't believe that whenever we are maybe doing something bad, we are never afraid that, oh, I will be born in the hell, in next realm. And we also don't think that maybe I was in hell realm before and now I am born as a human being. I have been born in the hell realm. That also we, I think, have hardly thought about it. We always just read it like maybe a story and it just goes by, but we don't believe that it really exists. For example, after this class, we are going to have tea break, and then we will be served tea. Maybe they are going to be like 40 cups of tea. And if someone says that from the 40 cups of tea, in 39 cups of tea, there is going to be some poison which is going to make you sick, then there's definitely most of us will not drink the tea because we believe that it is going to affect us. And if not 39, but at least if someone says that from the 40 cups, one teacup has some poison and it is going to affect your health, still I think most of us will not drink the tea because we believe that the tea is going to affect us, it is going to poison us. And because we have faith in the poison, we trust the poison that it is going to harm us. And just like that, our activities, we are always talking about hell realm, we are always talking about hungry ghost realm, we are always talking about these stuff. If we do something bad, if we do something out of attachment, if we do something out of anger, if we do something out of jealousy, we will be born in the hell realm. But we don't believe that. We still get angry, we still get attached, we still get jealousy, and we continue being angry, we continue being very jealous, and we are not afraid of not getting angry. We are angry quite often, we are jealous quite often, because we don't believe in the result of anger, because we don't believe that there is a hell which exists. We don't believe that there is a hungry ghost which exists, because we don't believe in the result. So that is why it is very easy for us to commit anger, jealousy, attachment like that. But if we have like lots of faith that, oh, the hell really exists, if we do something bad, we will be born there, then it is very easy for us not to commit any negative actions. But when we don't have such strong belief and faith that the hell realm exists, we continue doing something very bad. Mentally, we have anger, we have jealousy, and we don't find any fault in that. We don't try to erase our anger, we don't try to erase our jealousy and all this stuff. The more we believe that there's a hell where we will be born if we do something bad, then it is much easier for us to remove away our negative emotions. So if we don't believe in hell, then it means that we have still not reached the kindergarten of Buddhism. So we have to realize that just knowing that, oh, there's hell, there's heaven, doesn't mean that you believe in that. If you really believe that if you do something bad, then you will be born there, then it means that you at least believe there is hell. And again, you might think that what do you mean by like doing good things, bad things? So it is quite easy to understand, like anything that is being done good from your body, from your speech, from your mind, and even from these three, the one from your mind is the most important. Like from your body, also you can do some good activities. From your speech, you can do good activities. From your mind, you can do good activities. And these are all like very good things. You abstain from doing anything bad from your body, speech, and mind. And nobody is going to say whether they are Buddhist or non-Buddhist. These are good things. The negative things, like from body, we say like killing, sexual misconduct, and all this stuff. Whether you are Buddhist or whether you are not Buddhist, still everybody believes that these are bad when you are killing or when you are having sexual misconduct. Or from your speech, when you lie, when you slander someone. So these are also very negative things. So even if you are Buddhist or even if you are not Buddhist, these are still, nobody is going to say that, oh, these are very good things when you slander someone, when you tell a lie, when you use curse word or all this stuff. So it is quite easy to understand all this stuff. And then we have like 3 meditation sessions each day, and some of you might not be having a very good health, so if you are not able to join all 3, that's still acceptable. Some of you might not be used in sitting in cross-leg position, so sometimes you might need to rest, and then again you might or can leave some of the meditation session, and then some of you might have to still work through online, or maybe there is going to be some other activities that you have to do and you will not be able to have enough time, so you can skip some of the meditation sessions. But if you are able to, then you can join all of the meditation sessions, the revision class, the teaching class. And then when you are doing meditation, it is not like you only have to think about one object or maybe one like maybe a picture or stone or whatever like that, because most of the people think like that, but actually it is not like that. When you are doing meditation, you can still think about all this stuff, whether when you are doing these teachings or whether when you are receiving all these teachings or empowerment or whatever, how your motivation was. You can think about that, whether you had the correct motivation or not, whether you had any motivation at all or not. So you can think about them, and then the more you think, the easier it gets for you to understand how your motivation is, because someone other is not going to be able to point it out to you. It's only you who can point that out. And when you are doing the meditation, you can think about that. You can think about your motivation now. You can think about the motivation that you had before. If there is any change, if there is any no change, if it's the same motivation from 20 years back and now, then it means you haven't improved at all. So all this time is almost like waste of time. If it's the same like 10 years and now, then again it's quite a lot of waste of time. If there is some improvement, then we can all feel rejoice in the improvement that we have. So it is very important to think about all this stuff when we are doing meditation. And then we stop here for today.